Live, what's going on? Welcome to the online cookout. Don't forget, this is Jamari Clarendon, Jay Clarendon. I am Jay Clarendon. Don't forget to subscribe and also like. Let me turn my that. All right, cool. All right. So tonight's discussion is what is the impact on music as far as our community and cultural development, especially the current music of hip hop and R&B, and we're going to touch on several other genres as well. Again, I am Jay Clarendon. I'm going to let the panel introduce themselves. We have 4 people on the panel, 5 including me tonight, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5 including me tonight. So go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and start from I guess from my left, which is Collins. Collins, go ahead and introduce yourself, and then Desiree and the rest of you. Sophia, y'all go ahead and go get it in.
All right. Greetings, online cookout community. All right, I am Collins Peters, your friendly neighborhood relationship guru. I am the master of human relationships. I am a relationship counselor, and yeah, so I'm just here to contribute. And my purpose in life is to transform the core basis of human relationships from fear-based to love-based. That's what I'm about, and I'm always going to try and interject that into whatever conversation we have, so we're always generating our purpose.
Oh, facts.
True.
Shall I go next?
Yes, please.
I don't know if mine's gonna be that dope, but we shall see. I'm Desire, singer, songwriter, poet, call center, customer service representative extraordinaire. Okay.
Okay.
I'm known for my personality. Hopefully you'll see all of it shine on this beautiful call. And yeah, that's me. So that's all I do. I don't really do no counseling or nothing like that. I just do myself.
Who's next? You. All right. I'm Jared Prato. They call me Ja. I'm the poet with stage fright. Yeah. Like, I love poetry, but I can never find myself on the stage. I'm a moon Scorpio, so I kind of don't know how to do these. But yeah, I'm Jared, the poet with stage fright.
Awesome.
I'm Sophia, and I'm an educator, and that's all really. And I'm a woman with an opinion that I like to share. So that's all.
All right.
Awesome.
Where did Jamari go? He just blacked out on us.
I'm here. Oh, okay. I'm actually trying to go ahead and get these links out on Facebook. So I'm going to be in and out. I'm going to allow the panel to go ahead and.
Did you tag me?
And I haven't done it yet, so I'm going to go ahead and allow y'all to get y'all spill in. Again, I'm Jay Clarendon. No introduction needed. I am who I said. You know who it is. Content creator, master of my own, the grand mage, the architect.
Jay Clarendon. Okay.
It is DJ Clarendon. All right, but on a serious note, we want to definitely go ahead into this subject, and I'll allow Collins to go ahead and get it in, because he did not mention that he is in LA. He has been a musician for as long as I've known him. The man plays over 20 plus some instruments. The first time I engaged with him, it was during the talent show at FIU, and he was playing like 8 instruments at one time. It's not a hyperbole. He literally was playing like 8 instruments at one time.
I know all of this.
Yes, he's definitely one of the most talented and intelligent individuals I've ever met in my life. So I'm going to let him. I think that he does have a good base on the subject, because he's so equipped in with music. He's I would say he started out as a instrumentalist, right?
Yeah, I started out as an instrumentalist.
And then, after a couple of months of me calling him a garbage rapper when he he started rapping. He actually became no facts. He actually took it upon himself to become very in the hip hop and also I would say like neo soul and he reminds me of I would say like a Sinead O'Connor, a Prince, a bunch of different artists in one. And so I personally hope he gets back into the music as well in the future. Collins, go ahead, touch upon that. How is music really influencing the community? And community, you can take that and decipher that and define that as you will. We know what Sophie's going to take it.
Let's take it.
But go ahead and chime in for me, brother.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you for that great introduction. So yeah, I didn't really say that because I didn't really say my musical background because I'm really retired from that field. However, of course, I had over 20 years in the industry. 20 years as a professional musician, and then 15 years as a producer and a writer and a rapper and a singer and all that good stuff. So I guess I'll just start with defining my version of what community is. For me, the community will be the global community. I believe that we all are connected in some way, shape, or form. Even if someone only likes pop music and then somebody only likes pop music and somebody only likes dance music, eventually we all intermingle with each other anyway. So for me, the stage that I'll set as the community is the global community. I'll probably keep it, first broad regarding what type of music. I believe that all music impacts the community in a very profound way. I believe it defines a lot of what culture is. It will transform and alter culture. It has that power because it deals with the frequencies, and the frequency manipulation in music allows for certain emotions and certain feelings to be brought out. One of the things that I remember from high school days was when the song Move Bitch came out. Like, it did not matter how prissy, how cool, how educated you wanted to call yourself. And that song came on, we were like mosh pit. Yeah. It was like a mosh pit. Right? It didn't matter if it was black, white, Spanish, Portuguese. People just started mosh pitting everywhere. And it didn't really matter. Like, if you had a dance and you had a dress on and you had your tuxedo on, when that song came on, it became like mosh pit, and people started like punching each other and running into each other and stuff like that. And so that I really saw the sweetest, nicest, kindest, smallest girls, in school with a 5.2 GPA, all of a sudden go crazy. Right. And so I really understood the power of music at that point when I saw, super prissy, nerds like going hard in the paint inside the dance. So I would say the power of music really comes down to the beginning of creation, which, for those who subscribe to the idea of a higher power or most higher universe, one of the creation stories is that the world and the universe was created by word, sound, power. Right. So it was spoken into existence, and that is how things came about. So that just goes to show the power of frequency. And so when we create music, why it can transform and manifest a whole entire community to change the way that they view things or the way they view themselves or the way they view life. It's because I believe anyway that it's because on a fundamental level, frequency manipulation creates reality, right? So when we have a song that, is about let's get it on, let's talk about like Let's Get It On for Marvin Gaye, I think we have a lot of human beings that wouldn't be on this earth if it wasn't for that song. Wow. When that song came on, there was I don't care if you was angry, upset, you just came home from work, 2 jobs. If you walked in and everybody knew what time it was. It was going down. If you had no game, all you had to do was turn that song on. Right? And for throughout the 70s or whatever, whenever that song came out, I think a lot of people were born because of that. I might have been born because of that song. Right? So, and then, I guess the most profound one that happened again, I would say happened probably about 20 years later with Maxwell with A Woman's Work. Right? Or Woman's Worth. Woman's Work or Woman's Worth. One of those. Right? And when that came on, it was going down. It was going down. So I think that, if music can like literally create life, inspire people to make love and create life, it also shows the power that it could have, because as above, so below, the power that it could have to destroy life. Right? So if someone is not conscientious of that power that they have when they're creating their art form and using their music and creating those frequencies, whether it's simply with the words they speak or with the musical notes that they emote their feelings with, that it can have a giant and humongous, tremendous impact, whether positive or negative. So I think it shouldn't be frowned upon, and it shouldn't be laughed at, and it should be, shouldn't be dismissed as far as the power of music. Now, a lot of people have the fear around it, like, when hip hop comes into the picture, they have the fear of the violence and the negativity and things like that, and the attention to drugs and alcohol and all those things. That gives the art form a negative name. And I believe that has a lot to do more by design than just by happening. I believe that the people that are allowing the songs to be on the radio want to make sure that frequency of negative energy is put out. So, but of course, they can't put out what people don't make, right? So the individuals that are making it, that are willing to take the money to destroy their community, or to deceive their community, or to further perpetuate the natural destruction of their community. I think the money has a lot to do with, or the want for money, or the want for power, or the want for fame has a lot to do with why it's used so well to destroy our community, as far as hip hop is concerned, right? And hey, black people listen to hip hop, white people listen to hip hop, European people listen to hip hop, Asian people listen to hip hop, and when they listen, if they understand the words, they are definitely affected. And I've seen, it was a sad sight to see. It was one of the greatest trips that I've taken in my life was to South Africa, 2 years ago. And I went there and I saw, the source of mankind. These are the people that have been here and they're the originals. And it was strange to see when they had their TV shows on that they were emulating Black American culture. Right? And so they were talking, there were two South African people from Soweto, and they're talking about beef. When they could be talking about Ubuntu, which is their national philosophy, which is I am because we are. Right? Which is, I am me, whatever I am is because we are. So it's a community engaged philosophy as the core structure, the core philosophy. And they're not talking about Ubuntu. They're talking about beef and drugs, and Tupac and Biggie was like the beginning of that. And so their pure culture is being destroyed by our influence. So it's very strange to see, what I would consider like the source and the highest of people, which is like the pure Africans, be influenced by the lowest form of music. And so when I say the lowest form of music, I say music designed for negative purposes. And that's, so I'll end, at least this part on the power of music is it can make someone happy. It can make someone sad. It can, have somebody in depression come out of depression, and have somebody joyous go into depression, depending on the frequency manipulation that is going on a basic level. Right. And the vibrations that a person is creating when they're writing something or thinking about something and feeling something, and they write those words, whether it's a spoken word artist, whether it's a poet that has somebody else recite it, like the Queen, I don't remember your name. That energy that's in the core basis of the music does transfer. There's some strange, amazing phenomenon that what I have over here somehow gets over there. And if I'm feeling negative, I will share negative. So I think we should be, more conscientious about how we share our emotions. Doesn't mean you always talk about peaches and rainbows, right. and Fairy does, but I would say that you can talk about it in a positive way, and it doesn't have to be glorifying the negativity. All right. So I'll end that my spiel with that statement.
That was amazing. Yeah, that was really good.
Thank you.
Indeed.
Thank you very much. Yeah. So yeah, who would like to take? You know,
Go ahead
open it
and
up to anyone else.
You know, okay, can I just say, so my thing about music today is not so much that I feel like it's not authentic. Like that's a problem for me when music is not authentic. Yeah. Because I think that certain voices need to be heard. Like realistically, some stories need to be told. They're real. It's out there. And a lot of times the reason why things aren't taken care of or addressed or fixed. And when I say community, I'm going to go with the Black community. It's because it's not exposed. You know, you have these people living on this side and these people living on that side, these people living under a rock. And so what happens is everybody has their perception of what the other side is really living like. And then it's determining how they interact with the other side, how they help the other side, how they ignore the other side. And sometimes music exposes that, even if it's raw and uncut. Sometimes you need that exposure, and not just music, like any art form. The problem comes into play when people are just being totally random at expressing things that they are used to the culture being stereotyped as. And then that's where, you know, we have all these issues, I think, because, you know, some of these songs, like for real, like you probably not selling dope. You probably came from a nice middle class area. And it's just kind of like, come on, you know, that's not how you get it out there. Now, when you're NWA and you really have been attacked by the police and you really have gone through some riots and stuff like that, you got a right to say F the police. You know what I'm saying? And get it out there that there's a group of people that feels like F the police, you know? So like that's my problem with it. I feel like when you're putting out stuff that's not authentic and it's representing, and let's be for real, because when they put out these songs, it's representing the Black community, because nobody, even though Little Jimmy buys hip hop and rap, nobody ain't saying that that's his suburb neighborhood. They're talking about all the Black neighborhoods act like that. So, you know, if you're going to put all this stuff out, representing us under stereotypes, that's a problem for me. A lot of these rappers didn't come from those places and they're rapping about them. And then there are rappers who did come from those places and they have transcended those places, bank account wise, lifestyle wise, educationally, and they still have the nerve to only rap according to that past and rap as if it's the present. And that's a problem for me too. That's not authentic. You know what I'm saying? Like rap about what you really got going on. If you're driving a Benz now, rap about that, you know? But don't imply to the community that you have $1 million contracts, but you still need to slang rocks on the corner. Because we all know you're not doing that. So like that's my problem with it. It's like, you know, I love creativity, and I really don't like when people say, you know, to an extent, I don't like when people try to like monitor other people's creativity. But, you know, at a certain point, it's like, come on, you know, be real and be authentic, or nobody's gonna buy into it. Although the younger generation is buying into it, but for me, like, I'm like, no, I can't even vibe with some things because it just doesn't feel authentic, and some of it is not good music. So, and I feel like that's why it's not good music, because there's a disconnect, you know? Art has to have a connection. It has to have a connection to the person that's creating it, the person that's the vessel for getting it out. And when it doesn't, it's going to show in some way or another. It's going to show, you know? And some people are literally like just, you know, somebody could sing the Hokey Pokey on a track right now and people would be like, oh my God, yeah. You know, and it's like I'm not riding with it like that. So that's what I think about it, you know. I think authenticity is important. When you're creating art, create your truth. And sometimes your truth changes, and that's okay. Maybe you're not a dope boy anymore. Maybe you have other problems, but create it in an authentic way. And that's why some rappers have lasted for a long time. They're in their 40s, but they can drop an album right now and get big sales because they're being authentic. They're discussing what their reality is. Other rappers, you know, it's not happening because they're trying to keep the same I don't know what you would call it, plot going, you know, throughout their music.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's what I think.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Sophie.
Well, I would definitely like to hear. I hear echo. I would definitely like to hear, you know, Desiree's and Ja's perspective, since they are the current generation that's listening and buying and trending that music. What's your spill on it, and why? And what do you think about what Sophie said, and also what Colin said, just about music in general?
Okay, well, what Colin said, we had already thought about something that could correlate from back then, it being move, bitch, get out the way. Now the modern day move, bitch, is Bodak Yellow.
And okay. Like, it really rouses
it really makes you feel some type of way. It's like Nuck If You Buck for HBCUs. Like, get like this we get a sense of feeling like
that's
quote quote that bitch. Like, we feel like nobody can mess with us when that song comes on. And
it's just speaking for me. Right. I've never done half that stuff.
Right.
But
and it's so powerful. It shows how powerful music is, that it can influence somebody to just get. They just turn into somebody that they're not. Like, because we're not violent people. But trust me, when that song comes on and somebody looks at me sideways, I'm ready to fight. Like, I'm ready to fight.
Every boy at the park. I don't care about home.
Like, it makes you just want to get all up in somebody's face. So that's how powerful music is. And it still shows how powerful music is, even though the quality might not be
good. But you have to think about it too. It's like when like our schools, like Miramar places, and like Miramar, like it was like a fraud school. Like stealing money was the cool thing, you know. Cool thing that's what you like. They used to. I didn't personally see, but like they would call that school the fraud school. And that's what's trending in the music, you know, getting money, running up a check, you know, scamming. I'm a scammer. And you really see it take a toll on the community. Like, once a new trend comes, you're gonna see a different behavior in the generation. Like now it's Xanax.
Yeah, Xanax and pills and
Little Pump. Now Xanax. Now there's a whole bunch of kids selling Xanax and doing Xanax, and that's not. Oh my God, that is not okay. But okay. It really does influence. Like, you see the rappers that you look up to, just you can't help yourself.
Yeah.
I agree.
So it just shows.
I would definitely say. Go ahead.
It just shows how influential music still is, even though it's. Back in the day, it was like influencing you to be pro-Black and be proactive, and you know, in some forms. But now it's like mostly negativity and bad things like drugs and stealing and being a criminal. Like nowadays music is glorifying being a criminal. Listening, and they get that idea that it's cool to want to be a criminal because the music is booming.
And you see, like, they have a large fan group. So it's like, you see everybody like this, you're going to want to hear this out. And, like, you feel like you fit in with everybody else listening to this type of music. You know what I'm saying? So it's a sense of fitting into it. I could say, like, as a teenager, that means a lot when you're younger. Yeah. Like, it does. Fitting in, like, being an outsider. Even though you are an outsider, you're still a part of the group of outsiders. Right. You get what I'm saying? Like, you still have education. So it's a part of something.
So what made you guys able to listen to the music but not go down the path of like becoming the lyrics?
I feel like we have common sense.
No, wow.
I think that's what it is. Because I have in my mind, I know that being a criminal is not cool. That's not something that's registered cool to me.
Yeah, and I want a future like
exactly.
I'm not saying that you can't have one of the criminal history, but it's still like
it's very hard.
It's hard.
Yes,
it's just not cool. Stealing from people who work so hard, like
their money, like
it's not cool.
Fraud,
and I don't see the good thing about putting drugs in the Black community.
Yeah,
I don't see that. Doesn't make any sense to me.
Like, why would you sell where you live? Like, why would you want to harm the people near you?
I don't understand that.
That's your environment.
That's just it. Just I don't agree.
Right.
I just don't agree. I don't really listen to stuff like that.
And I feel like I didn't have to. Like, as you said, like, those are real stories. Like, that's her real story. I didn't have to go through that thanks to my parents, you know, thanks to the life that I was blessed with, thank God. And I don't know, it's just something about that song really still gets to you. And even though I didn't live that life and I didn't have to live that life, like, I don't know how, but I'm there, like, I feel it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say several things. One, addressing Sophie and Desiree is one, we have to understand several things, okay? Our music, when we were growing up, our parents talked about how our music sounded compared to their music. And they're coming from the 60s and 70s, okay? Where the, Black music or, our cultural music was more than just hip hop and R&B. We were in rock, we were in country, we were in jazz. There's several different genres that we influenced and that we created, okay? And when you're dealing with the community, and I think we touched upon this before, Sophie, when I say the community and the evolution of music, or devolving of music, if some people say that, okay? We got to understand, one, we're not controlling the distribution of the music. So we're not controlling the evolution of the music. If we don't control distribution, you can't control what comes out. And so you can only, and if somebody's giving you scrambled eggs every single day, and that's all you know, then that's all you're going to eat. Right. And you're going to appreciate the hell out of those scrambled eggs, okay? And we're dealing with an impoverished culture, meaning that you're dealing with a lot of kids. They're not seeing the art in music. They're seeing the money in music. It's another stream of revenue that they can hurry and get themselves out of the hood. Okay. So if they see it as a form of making money, then they're trying to shortcut the art. All right. When me and Collins was in college and growing up in the 80s and growing up in the 90s, your lyrics were the most important things. You couldn't say random things, and I don't care how cool the beat was, and I don't care how trendy the sound was. If you didn't have like actual bars,
right,
you weren't gonna make it. Okay.
Nope.
So, but now you would think, I would have surmised that since technology has expedited and has made creating music at home more efficient, where you can create a studio sound from your closet, right? You would think it would have made the art a lot better, but it hasn't, right? When me and Collins was, it was hard to get somebody who was an instrumentalist to create a beat for you and then find a studio and do all these things. And so by then you're just rapping and perfecting your craft before you even get inside a booth.
Right.
But most of these kids are inside a booth and they already have the music and the sound already done for them. So all they got to do is add the words, like, yo, let me hurry and get it done, because they're trying to make money. And you have to understand that I don't fault them. I don't get mad at them trying to get out of their situation and their circumstances, okay? And as a creator and as artists, I don't feel it's my right to tell another artist what he or she should say. Right. I'm just not gonna buy your stuff. I'm just not gonna listen to you, right? That's my power. The power of the consumer is not to buy into that. Colin said something earlier where he said other cultures listen to hip hop, right? Europeans listen to hip hop. Asians listen to hip hop. They listen to it from a different standpoint. They listen to it from a different perspective. They're not listening to it as far as I'm going to do what these people are saying, because that'd be crazy. They weren't raised that way. It's entertainment for them. Pure entertainment. Like, this sounds fun. It's like going to a movie and watching what's that new movie, the remake, Jigsaw. Doesn't mean I'm going to go out there and serial kill people, right? Doesn't mean I'm going to just murder people randomly. No, I'm as a source of entertainment, and that's all it is. But now when you get into the Black culture, if you tell a Black kid that scamming is a way of getting yourself out of poverty, and they don't see any other way of getting out of poverty, then they're going to do exactly what you say. If you're telling them, if they're listening to the music and saying, wow, well, rap isn't that complicated. Well, I don't really have to read. I don't have to fall in love with words to, make music. I just throw a couple, lines together, and as long as it's riding on top of the beat, then we're all good. So that's just my take on it, because you got to understand, one, we don't control any distribution. Now we're starting to, as far as being able to put your content online, but now it's kind of, the trend has already started, right? As long as I get enough fans and followers, right, and this is what they ask for, then this is what I'm going to put out. If the consumer doesn't demand a higher level of expectation from the artist is saying, I'm going to give him this, especially if he's not, as you said, Sophie, coming from it from an authentic perspective, okay? Coming from it saying, I really want to influence and affect people in a way that it can actually change their lives. I'm telling this story not to glorify what I've been through, but I'm telling this story to express how I feel and to pretty much let other people know there are other routes to go. So I'm giving you my story. I'm giving you my experience to show you, hey, you don't have to go that route. But that's not how they're doing it. And I don't want to bash any rapper or anything like that, but I'm just saying, if Desiree's generation, and again, you can only go from Desiree, when you say our music inspired us to be Black activists, that's early 80s, late 70s. You know what I'm saying? Hip hop, when I grew up, was about partying, having fun. That's the 80s right there. That's hip hop in the 80s. And then the 90s is when gangster rap comes in. So once you have the inception of gangster rap, right? Then you kind of now you're starting to see people begin to package gangster rap, right? Now you get, it's like a domino effect. You can only go downhill once you get violent, right? You can only go downhill. And the only thing that I say is, we don't have enough, or we don't appreciate enough genres, because look what's going on with R&B. R&B is not even as big as it used to be anymore, because kids be like, oh, you up in your feelings, like that's a bad thing. Okay. So R&B is not at the level that it used to be. So what music do we really have? We have a form of hip hop. I don't even want to call it hip hop, because hip hop is more of the culture, right, of rap. You have hip hop, and then you have what, R&B, if you want to call it R&B, because most R&B singers are rapping now. Okay. And then that's all we got. We're no longer influenced by rock, in which we created, jazz, and other cultures are taking it to another level. So where's our Maroon 5s at, right? Where's our bands at? So now we have a few of those, but again, as I said, we don't control the distribution of our music. So what are we going to do? Sophie? Desiree Collins?
Well, what I can say as far as a solution, what you said, poignant. Like, if you don't like it, you're not going to buy it, right? Now, of course, you can't stop someone like Desiree or Ja. Like, you can't stop them from buying it or listening to it. You can't stop somebody else from doing it. But what you can do, of course, I guess it goes back to the thing of like with your own children, or your own nieces or your own family, you can say, hey, I know you probably feeling that beat, but let's talk about like what that song's about. Like, tell me what you're thinking about that. Because someone like Desiree is like, oh well, yeah, I mean, I like that. I like the song. I mean, hey, it makes me feel some type of way, but I ain't about to go scam somebody. I'm not about to do that. Like, no, I got common sense. You know what I mean? Like, you might not have anything to worry about with your specific niece or nephew or your friend or something like that. You might not actually have anything to worry about with them because they might have common sense. But of course, common sense is probably one of the most uncommon things, right? Mm-hmm. So then so then it's like, okay, well, what can we do? What's the solution that we can do for the people that are dumb and that will just do whatever somebody else says? Like this. Okay. All right, so now I don't know. I think that a realist. Go ahead. You got one?
No. They were just coming back to the mic.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I think I think a solution would be just to educate, like, just the average person on the power of the subconscious mind. All right. So if you tell them, if you let them know, like, hey, what you listen to, like, this is not the music you listen to is garbage. Stop listening to that horrible stuff. Because they'd be like, well, that's what your daddy said when you were listening to your music.
Right.
So did you listen to them? No. So why would I listen to you? Right. So, but what you can do is let them know, like, listen, if you really want to have like clarity on your life and have a really positive like scenario where you get at that hood and you're happy, pay attention to the music that you listen to, like study it. Don't just listen to it. Like, if you're going to listen to it, but then study it. Like, go to the website, azlyrics.com or whatever, and read the actual lyrics of what is being said, because that's what's being programmed. If you do that, then you'll be like, damn, so telling me how I'm going to be miserable and not ever find a man.
Oh, no.
But now I love Beyonce so much.
You know what? But you're dealing with a generation and generations that don't like to read.
True that.
That are not inspired to read. And so if you're not inspired to read and you really don't care, you got to understand, when you're dealing with people who actually don't care and see anything wrong with the music, of course, we can find plenty of solutions. I'm not trying to be a pessimist, but I don't think any of those things are going to work. I think, other than the fact of supporting the artists that are putting out good music, sharing the crap out of their music, and stop following people that are based on trends. And I don't want to bring this kid. I saw an interview on him. And I don't even want to say his name, but like the boot gang, whatever they call him, I think this is crazy. I think it's crazy, and the fact that he inspires other kids to do similar things to get attention, because you was raised on it. Good attention, bad attention is still attention, right? So now you have kids trying to figure out a way, oh shoot, how do I, in this social media environment that so many people are following this person, how do I get noticed amongst millions of people? Oh shoot, let me do something crazy. Right? And so it becomes a trend to do crazy things instead of doing something that's contrary to what's going on. You do crazy things. The kid is like literally jumping in. What was it? KFC or something I saw, and like going behind the counter and screaming at people and grabbing chicken and putting it in the thing. And,
wait, is that the kid that calls himself like the Black Joker or something?
Yes.
I don't know, bro. I don't know.
Oh wow, yeah, I saw one video and I saw exactly what was happening. Like, oh, they're just paying people to be clowns. Be a clown. It's our modern day version of Mammy, right? It's like, okay, shuck and jive. Mm-hmm. you know, and dance around and say you jive turkey and blaxploitation type stuff, you know, and the non-modern version is like just be a complete idiot. We're gonna pay you this money, be as retarded as possible, you know, speak as educated as possible, and then we're gonna give you this money and be happy that you're killing your family and your friends and all that good stuff.
Collins, ain't nobody paying him the money. He's doing it. He's doing it on his own.
No, once.
No.
Now he is. But go ahead, Desiree.
Once he got that fan base, the money started coming in. That's how the money comes in.
Facts.
If you have a lot of followers, that's when you get your money. And
like,
the worse his exposure got, the worse he began acting, because it did become about the money at that point.
Mm-hmm. I heard like somebody was telling me how like in the beginning of a rapper's career, like anybody who's trying to really get up there, they'll do really crazy weird stuff to get attention.
Young Thug did it.
Their music, and Nicki Minaj did it. A lot of people did it.
Everybody did it.
They act crazy.
They act crazy, and then once they got where they needed to be, they calmed down. And you don't see them in the media anymore. Like Young Thug when he started wearing dresses and nail polish.
Right. You know what's funny is I'm not sure if you guys are still talking, but are you guys, is Desiree still talking?
I was gonna make a point about the other thing. What was I gonna say?
Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
As far as this generation is completely about waves. So wherever the wave, this is about the solution. Wherever the wave goes, everybody goes. So my solution is people start talking about real stuff, like Jay-Z. Once Jay-Z dropped his album about credit and saying how all that cool stuff is not really cool, everybody started riding the wave. There was some people who weren't. There's still some people who aren't. But there's a lot of people who wasn't riding that wave, who's riding that wave now. And all they talk about is credit. They might talk about it and not be about it, but they still talking about it. You know? So now there's other things on people's minds, because now it's a trend to not be in the streets.
Yeah.
If y'all don't, I don't think y'all know yet, but it is a trend among social media. Everybody is now realizing that being cool is not cool.
Live it, but it's a lot of people
who are moving away from that stuff, like thinking that it's not cool anymore. It's not cool no more. And so that's why the point about everything just being like a wave.
Chance the Rapper.
Everything being a wave that's very important, because that's how the things move throughout our generation. And right now, that's what it's all about. Wherever the wave goes, the people are going. So,
you know, that's amazing that you that you have that.
Go ahead, Soph.
No, I was gonna say that's trendy. Being trendy is like that happened years ago. Also, you know, like when I was in college, I was into rap music. And I was into like real Southern rap music, but I didn't carry a gun on me. You know, I might have thrown some bowls in the club, but I didn't go to the for a fight. You know, so I think that it's not really like I don't know. I think that when I was in college, I went to an all-black college, right? I should say a historically black college. And we listened to that kind of music, but we were still college students. We were still young black kids who had goals. You know, we weren't like packing, and they might have had the cars, you know, guys were trying to get the cars that were like the cool, like, dope boy cars, but they weren't dope boys. They were sitting next to me in class on Wednesday morning at 8 o'clock. So I feel like, you know, trending, that's always going to happen. But I think it just it depends on, you know, what the individual is being fed the majority of the time. Because Desiree and Ja can like Bodak Yellow, like I like Bodak Yellow. I mean, hello. But the thing is, we have been fed other things in our lives to let us know. Jamari, I saw that face. I do like it. But hello, I like authentic music, and she is being authentic.
She is authentic.
She ain't transcended Cardi B yet. Okay, she still got some work to do. But yeah, like, you know, as long as you're being fed, from other perspectives, it's not a struggle to not, decide that you're not going to go out and scam or look for a way to bang bang. You know what I'm saying? It was never a struggle for me. And I loved rap music since I could remember, like, and I still love it. Like, I can still listen to Field Mob right now, and I can listen to Trick Daddy and be crunk in my mind, So it's like, I think that it's more about like the other parts of you, like the environment, and some people don't have like other things being fed to them. So then that's when the problems occur also, and that they are relying on these people to be role models. People talking about ecstasy and stuff like that. They're relying on them because that's all that they have. They don't have like other people in their lives talking about other things. And so that's what I think. I think trending has always been around. You can tell just if you wanted to dress up from a particular decade, you would know exactly what to wear because of trends, because most pictures from that decade look the same in some way, So trending is not, that's just a thing that youth really tend to get caught up in because they're young and their minds are still maturing. But I think that it's really about the environment that the individual is getting fed from,
Yeah. What I wanted to say before was that it was amazing that Desire was really aware, like how aware you were about the waves. It's really awesome. I mean, you really give me you give me hope for like the next generation, because that is on a core level the creation of the universe. It's all waves. Sound is waves. It's in wave forms, right? That's how things are. So it, like I said, as above, so below. So when you're talking about frequency and wave and manipulation, the movement, like if I were to draw like the movement of a wave right here, right? That has a certain frequency. Now, there is an actual, like that, when it goes like this, there's an actual correlation to the emotional state of a human being based on that. So if you play a note, you will make someone feel that note's frequency. And that frequency might be happiness, that might be joy, that might be violence, it might be craziness, it might be I'm about it, I'm this, I'm that, right? So whatever that everything that you say, like, if you look at the Bible, when they talked about like how they gave people their names, they gave them their names based on some idea. Oh, and they called this person Shabukalak because the sky was red and there was a grasshopper on the hill. So in order to say that you had when you saw the sky being red and you saw this grasshopper on the hill, you would say your name is Shabukalak, and that was the frequency of that name. All right, and that's why there are a lot of people with the same names. They have similar characteristics. Now, that idea of the waveform, here's a new solution, right? People like Desire and Job, like, look, man, make your music. All right, make your music, and no matter what happens, keep on making music. Give the people the option for eggs over easy as opposed to just scrambled eggs. Just give them the option, because those, there have been people out there that are the other option, like the better food. There's like the J. Cole, there's Chance the Rapper. There are options out there. Right? So what I would say is, as individuals that are artists, make sure you share those things. Like, it's social media, right? So when you see something that is positive, share it on your page, right? Always, share it on your page. Tell your friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, check this dude out. Like, oh, this is a real cool, because it just gives people another option. I think the fools will be led to do foolish things, and there's nothing we can really do about it, right? There's nothing we can do about it. But what we can do is just throw a little option so that one of the fools that's on the cusp of not being a fool says, you know what? Damn, I've been a fool, but let me stop for a second, because I actually listened to Eminem's lyrics, and then this dude is seeing demons. Like, he can't sleep at night. Like, You know, and if we're talking about authenticity, you know, we're talking about a dude that's talking about how he sold his soul, and then these are the repercussions, and he's trying to get out of it, but he don't want to let go of the life. So, do you want to be able to sleep at night? Well, then don't do this stuff. You know, don't sell your soul for the money. You know, don't sell your ideals and your idea. You know, even if you don't believe in spirits, like don't sell your happiness and your joy for the money, because what you want the money for is to be happy in the first place. You want the money so that you do the things that you want. What's up?
Let me chime in. V said some young in a live chat room, some young men feel pressure to find a way to make quick money because of their circumstances. So the fact that trapping is glorified in music today only makes it easier for them to fall into it. And she also says, should artists be held more accountable for their music since the impact and influence on the community is so evident?
Woo. Well, I think what Sophie said last time we talked about celebrities being held accountable is the perfect scenario for that. And what Jamari said, if you don't like their stuff, don't buy it. Tell your friends, don't buy it. Tell your friend, hey, check this out as an alternative. And, you know, they will be held accountable by their bank account going lower and lower and lower.
And you know what? They will switch it up. And now that you bring that up, and I'm going to touch upon what Desiree said about people waking up to Jay-Z's album 444. And I'm going to say it's not more so of an awakening. You had a lot of people waiting on music like that to come out. And then you have a lot of people, and I always tell my students that if you don't know the direction of life that you're going, you're going to fall for anything else, right? You're going to fall for somebody else's expectation or their directions or what they want to do. So you might be in the crowd that's going somewhere where you don't want to go. And it's, you know, the mob mentality, you're already in that crowd. And so when you hear something that wakes you back up, that frequency that you tap into, as we're speaking about music and frequency, and you actually wake up and say, you know what, this is something I don't want to do, so I'm going to go back. I'm going to go home, guys. You know, I think that's what music with that album did for some people. It's like, oh, let me get myself together because I don't think this is really what I want to do. And to touch upon what V said about these young kids feeling pressure because of their circumstances, man, it's a tough world. It's a tough world. It's not the days of when we were growing up, and it's definitely not the days when our parents were growing up where all they needed was a high school diploma to get a career and take care of their kids. Now, especially if you live in places like California or South Florida and these urban communities that have a high cost of living, and a lot of these young men are responsible for, you know, bringing some money into their household and helping their mom out or doing these things to help their family, and they feel that pressure to do something. And if no one's instilling that foundation in you to be innovative and to be creative and to explore different ways to bring in revenue into your household, you're always, just like the human mind, it's always trying to shortcut different things. That's why it sees patterns when there are no patterns. It's just trying to shortcut everything. You're going to shortcut the music. You're going to shortcut trying to get money, and you're not going to listen to anyone. And these kids don't listen to anyone if they don't have the influence or if you don't have the type of money they're trying to get. So they're saying, hey, my cousin down the street is making over doggone $10,000 a week scamming. Sir, you're making $3,000, $4,000 a month. I don't want to listen to you. And you work all day. I'm not listening to you. Okay. And so when it comes to that music, this is the thing. Collins, you know the dedication and the creative realm you have to step into when it comes to creating profound music artistically. And you know for yourself that when you created music, you was not just creating music for people, you was more so creating music for yourself because it was a form of therapy as well and dealing with certain things. So it required art. It it wasn't necessarily about money. It was more so how can I express myself and how can I get this out where I can make somebody feel what I feel. And Desiree can attest to this because when she's doing poetry, she has to create her verses and her stanzas to, hey, I'm trying to get a message out, and I want the people to feel how I felt at that exact moment when that pen touched paper. I want them to feel that, right? And so, if they're not saying I want people to feel this, no, I'm trying to make some money.
Right.
You know, you're not gonna get the best out of somebody. You're not gonna get the best. And you're not gonna get the best music.
Well, you know what, Jamari? I mean, Collins probably knows more about this than me, but the process to becoming a musician is also different. Back in the day, like they used to really, if a label wanted to take you on as a musician, they used to really spend time with you and work with you on building yourself up as an artist. Even like concerning, even music wise, like, you know, they wanted to have like somebody was telling me, she was telling me that they used to make her do like a lot of writing before her first album and things like that. That's not the case now. Labels are looking for the artist that already has a certain amount of followers on social media and already has their brand. And it doesn't matter that the brand is kind of like not really quality. It's more like a lot of people are already following this person, so we can sign them up because they can pretty much bring in money after we, you know, sign them up. And so it's just like the process is completely different. It's not the same. So, you know, they're not required to come into the game with good music. They're required to come into the game with a fan base. You know,
right?
Hey, look, I have 200,000 followers on my Instagram, and that's how people are getting signed today, for real. Like, I know people that are getting signed based on that. Before, if your gift wasn't prepared, they wouldn't just sign you. You had to. They would like work with you, and you would be on kind of like this preliminary contract. So it's like, you know, artists are not having to go through that real artist boot camp anymore. They're kind of just like, oh, a lot of people like you, okay, how can we make money off of you? How can we capitalize off of this? It's not about that's not good music. For example, do you remember in the Temptations movie when they kept sending them back every time they recorded a single, how it was like trial and error, but the single never left the label? It was kind of like a panel would vote on whether that was the single to put out. It's not like that now. So, you know,
but that also takes away from the art too.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
for sure.
You know, that does play. You know, this is what, you know, it's a catch-22. You know, it can help you put out your best work, and it also can make you create a work of art that's well, cookie cutter art, where it sounds like somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what's selling right now. I don't want that new sound that you got. I want that other sound that you did that sold 1 million. Okay, but let's. Desiree got disconnected, so I'm waiting for her to get connected back. That's why her screen kind of froze. But let's get a little controversial. Do you think that this is a ploy? Do you think the reason why that this type of music is so prevalent within our community, that it is
by design?
By design, that these are the things they're allowing to be put out, because other cultures do have their type of music, like I would say like the real dark heavy metal type of stuff, but it's not as, you know, prevalent in other communities as much it is within our community. And it is extremely detrimental because, as Colin said, now the power of frequency and motion that once these frequencies interrupt the frequencies of your own thought process, your mind, because you can actually provoke different thoughts just by that music. And if they're getting this at an early age, and they're not seeing, and they're not being exposed to anything else in their realm, and this is all they're getting in, a daily dose of trash, then what you put into your body eventually overflows and comes out. And I think that is very detrimental to the community, especially as far as growth. Because although they were saying it was a big trend for Jay-Z's album, I did see people go against that because, you know, what Jay-Z said, you know, put the money to your ear. I don't like money over here. People were still online saying, oh, forget Jay-Z and having the money to the ear. And because they refuse, when you come from a poor state, you can't tell me nothing. I got money. And that's how they feel. Man, it can really, we can really get deep on this and create so many subtopics from this, because this stuff is leading kids into the direction of prison, right?
Oh, of course.
I always tell kids that when you deal, and this is a very scary thing, that when you deal with credit cards and you're dealing with fraud, right? You're going to get locked up for a very long time. These are the crimes. These were used to be the white collar crimes, right? Where you had to have a certain level of intellect to maneuver and not get caught. Well, these kids don't have a certain level of intellect to not mess around and get caught. Matter of fact, they're broadcasting it on social media.
Right.
That's how to get paid. You know what I'm saying? So, and I tell my students like this. I say, when they want you, they'll get you. When they really want you. And sometimes they put a case on you and they'll watch you for 2 or 3 years before they arrest you, because they don't want to get you when you first get into it and you're first starting it, right? They want to wait for a while until you've built up, and then they want to take everything. And they allow that music to hit the community. As the music hits the community and you get a felony, it prevents you from having certain rights in America, such as voting, such as carrying a weapon, a firearm. It prevents you from having these things. And this is one way where you kind of, and I'm just going on the controversial route and this is how you prevent a culture that is growing in population from being able to rise to have the voting power or the political power that grows when your population does grow, right? Like the Hispanic population is growing, supposed to supersede the white population like by 2020 or 2025, something like that. So how do you keep that population down? How do you keep the other population down? Well, you legislate laws that keep them from gaining power, right? And if they're going to that's why I don't really, racism is a big thing, right? But genocide is too. And if the people willingly put it in their own music to kill each other and to do crimes, I don't have to do much. Let it happen.
Right.
And if they do decide to put out good music, we control all the distribution. We decide what's going to be put out. So we have the illusion, we can take it here. We have an illusion that it's a trend of bad music coming out. That could be the illusion. The truth could be that's what they designed it to do.
Oh yeah. Well, I can say this, man. Being actually in the industry and being around these people and working with people like, Prince and T-Pain and all these camps and stuff like that, and Michael Jackson, all this stuff, Black Eyed Peas, these people, like I got on it, I wasn't all the way in to the point where, we always eating dinner together and stuff like that. But what I did understand, I got to really be around them long enough to find out their vibration. Like how are they actually as people? Like outside of what you see on the video, outside of your stage, how are they as people? Like, is this stuff working out for them? Are they really like, is this their vibe? And these people are miserable. They're absolutely miserable. They're unhappy. So it doesn't really work out for them. And I think if we expose that side of it, like, these people ain't happy. So if you're trying to be happy, you're trying to have a good life. They can make a song called "Good Life," but Kanye ain't having no good life.
Right.
You can make a song all you want, but we know you're depressed, homie. Like, we know you are sad. You're a sad human being. Like, you look like you're about to cry every time you're on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when you're supposed to be at your best. So what are you doing at home? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing at home? Like, they're miserable. And I can tell you this. I worked with Prince for like a year and a half. I worked around his camp, met MJ twice, met all of these celebrities. And I could tell you the amount of times I saw a genuine smile. It was only one time. Of all these celebrities, hundreds of celebrities that I've been, talking with and having dinner with, one, and that was Shaka Khan.
Yeah,
the only one that actually had a genuine smile. Like, we were riding up the hill, up to Prince's house, and because he had a super steep hill, man. So you wasn't trying to climb that, but she was the only person that just had a genuine sweet, like, she was happy, she was smiling. And people that I met, if it was known, like, hey, these people are miserable, the next person that's willing to sell, garbage music for the sake of, I'm gonna get this money, realizing that, hey, they're not actually happy, homie. Like, they're not happy. Like, they actually, if they could, they would do it differently. You know what I'm saying? They would do it differently. They're not happy about their life. If that was known and exposed, then that will start to change the trend. The trend will change because people are like, damn, so for real, like, Michael Jackson, like, he really couldn't sleep. Like, he really couldn't sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was scared of demons. Like, there were ghosts and stuff, like demons in his house, and he was afraid of people following him and killing him because he started to tell people the truth. Prince started to tell people the truth. Like, whoa, like, this is not. They really got evil people in this industry. So what you say by design, Jamari? I could tell you, yes. There was a guy that was part of Mac 10's crew. And he was my actual one of my band, the bands that I was producing called the Most High Gang. They're all ex-bangers that found God, and then, like, they should kill each other when they're in the same room, but they all now work together to change the culture, that they used to perpetuate, and change it. So they still talk about banging and the streets, but they talk it from the perspective of, you don't want to be doing that. We did it, but you don't really want to be doing that because this is what happens afterwards. When I went to jail and none of my homies came to visit me, I bid, and I came out, nobody was looking for me. Nobody picked me up. And so when they tell people that, they've actually had a lot of their little homies, right, actually come up out of the gangs because they were like, damn, so they didn't have your back. Like, that don't make no sense. Like, I thought this is all about the brotherhood and we all got each other's back. And so if we expose the reality that these people are ridiculously unhappy, no matter how many quote unquote females they have and how much money and cars they have, that they actually are depressed people in the hood. Because you got all of that and still are unhappy. If that was known, like, hey, at the end of the story, once you make your money, you're gonna be miserable, homie. So maybe you might not want to do that. Now, I said that's one practical solution. The other one is just to empower these females. Like, y'all run the world. So that's kind of bringing it to the point of, like, hey, what are black women doing? Blah 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 blah. To be responsible for the downfall of our community. I would say this: we got two aspects that run the males: sex and survival. Males want to have sex and they want to survive, just like the females. They want to survive. So if the females take their power and stop letting idiots have sex with them, stop letting fools have sex with them, the niggas will change. They will change because men will do whatever they can to get the female, which is why they are trying to get the money. They're trying to get the money because they want to get the females. Men don't, like, if we didn't have females around, we wouldn't do nothing. We would have no inspiration, no aspiration to
Okay.
be. You would
Hold on. Look at Sophie's face. Look at Sophie's face.
Yeah, like
Okay,
you may not know the power, Sophie.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But look, like you don't know, like so you don't know the power that drive. The reason why we do everything is to get a woman or women's attention so that we can have the biological imperative to proliferate. If the female says, yo, no more people that are dumb get these draws. If all of y'all got together and just like, look, if they're not showing that they're intelligent, if they're not showing that they're doing something for the community, like we are all together not gonna let them beat. We're not gonna let them have it. They're not getting none. If that's another solution, men will change. They will change. That dude Joker, the black Joker or whatever his name is, he would change what he was doing because he would know he ain't getting no draws. He's not gonna get no draws. He's doing it so that he can get the money, so that he can get the draws. They want the house so that which is like their nest, so that they can get the draws. You know, this is what their driving focus is. So if you say no draws for idiots, no draws for fools, no draws unless you building my community up, no draws unless you educating somebody.
You're going to another. Hold on, man.
Like look,
hold on.
Like look, because a man's gonna try and beat whatever he's gonna beat. But if the female does not let him beat,
Colin.
He's got the power. Now, yes, there's some rape that can happen and stuff like that. But
hold on. Go ahead, Sophie. Go ahead,
Sophie. I have two things to address. The first thing I want to address.
Hold on. You better get back up. You better get back up.
Where's Desiree? Where's Desiree?
Okay, y'all should know that by now.
They got cut off. They couldn't get back in.
Okay.
First, I wanted to address when you were talking about how these artists weren't happy. And I think you named like the Black Eyed Peas. And I guess this isn't going to be a legit comment because you also named Michael Jackson and Prince and Shaka Khan. And I think that like it goes back to like authenticity. Like, but I guess I don't know. Like Michael Jackson created his own music, but was he creating music from his soul or from like his talent? You know, like. Those are two different things, you know. Even though it was good music, it doesn't mean that it was a representation of like him being able to throwing out there that are so antiquated and backwards. So I'm gonna bring it on. I'm gonna bring it on back now because I want to be clear. Just in case you have never met a woman that likes sex, a woman that will make decisions based on sex, women that like to survive, just in case you've never met a powerful man, because that's the implication, that you guys are just like these airheads walking around controlled by your penises, and we have all this, we're holding the penis, you know, and we're dragging it around because we have these magnificent brains, but we refuse to apply them to your heart on so that you will do what you're supposed to do so that society can be a better place. And that's just not what it is, okay? So one, women like sex also a lot. And women like survival a lot. And two, men are intelligent. We are sapient beings. So there is no excuse, gender excuse, for anybody to not be able to grow intellectually and make better decisions, make better judgment. We have women who make bad judgment calls, and we have men who make bad judgment calls. And if men withheld sex, some women would be affected, some women wouldn't. You know, and I don't think it's fair that you guys are, when it comes to like the head of the household, or when it comes to like the leader of the community, you guys are the intelligent ones. But then when it comes to the community is like crashing and burning, then we're the intelligent ones, and we keep getting you sick. So we're the ones that are like ruining everything because you can't use your minds because we keep giving you sex and we won't withhold it. So yeah, like that's a problem for me. I can't get on board with that.
All right, so I totally respect that, right? So now let me clear something up. I don't feel that women don't like sex. All right, most of the women that I'm with they like sex more than me. They think about sex more than I do. They want the sex more than I do. And I'll even come to them and say, "Oh yeah, now we hear you. You're back." Yeah. So to clarify, I'm not saying that women don't have sex and that men aren't powerful. I am a powerful man. Like, no woman is going to make me do or not do something because of sex or not sex or withholding sex or whatever, right? And at the same time, I understand my species, right? Now again, we're not talking about those really, really intelligent people like Desire and Ja,
Their species is not different from my species. Do you understand that?
Hold on. We are though. We are though. So just as far as I'm talking about a biological level, right? I'm not even talking about sociological. I'm talking about a biological level, right? Take away all societies, no matter what society you are in. The man is going to try and have sex as much as possible, and the woman is going to try and make sure that the right man has sex. Right? There are certain small communities that it's the inverse. Right? There are certain small communities, like 2 or 3 tribes in Africa where it's reversed. But as a majority, that the majority rule is that the male of a species is going to try his best to get as much seed spread as possible. It's just a biological imperative, right?
But you cannot compare humans to other animals because we're not like them. Of course you can. That's why
of course you can,
ruling the world right now. And they're not. That's why cows are not talking right now, and we're talking online.
Plants understand English. All right.
But are they talking online on a computer? Are they disadvantaged?
No, but see, just because you are a human being does not stop you from being an animal, right? We are flesh, right? We have hearts. We have the same body parts as other mammals, right? So we're still a mammal, right? It doesn't matter that we have a spirit and a consciousness and all of that stuff. It does not stop the flesh part from being the flesh part. Now, I bring that up to say this: our societies are synonymous to certain societies in animal culture. Right, so there's the chimpanzees, right, and then there's the bonobo chimps. If you ever watch the documentary, like, it'd be awesome. Just research it and find out. Look at the chimpanzee society and then look at bonobo chimp society. The chimpanzee society is much like man. They're patriarchally run, right, and they fight for resources. Right, and they get in tribes in order to be able to take the resources and get more resources, and they spread onto another tribe, and then they have fight and conflict, and they become cannibals. They're actually just naturally fruit eaters, but they become cannibals when there's a vying for resource, and they don't have enough protein, so they will eat the slain children or the slain adult even of the ones that they go and take over of the next place, just so that they can survive and get the protein. Right, now they are synonymous. They have wars, right, and fights just like human beings. Now take the exact same genes, right? The exact same genes. They are not a genealogically different. The bonobo chimps, right? Now they are just chimpanzees that happen to be in a different area of the jungle, and in this area of the jungle, it's plentiful resources. They have plenty fruit, right? And these are matriarchally run. So they're run by the females. And when the way that the females control the males is through sex. Right? If there's a male that starts to get all rowdy because he's a teenager and he wants to, and he sees these people over there and they start going rah, 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 and they want to go and make that fight like the other ones would in the chimpanzee, in the regular chimpanzee. What the females do is they get together and they all shun him. He's not allowed to have sex, not allowed to come around. They might all, he might be bigger and stronger than them, but it's 3 or 4 of them that will come against him and say, "Hey man, you better calm down. We don't want to fight. We don't want a war with that tribe over there. We got enough food." And what would a dude do? Now he won't want to back down. Yeah, but he's not getting help from his homies, because his homies like, I'm not about to be in the doghouse with you. And you will see the males pull away. They will pull away from that male who was their dominating male. But the females are dominating over that male, right? And so they all get together and like, I'm not about to not have no sex just because you want to go and have a fight. And so the dude who might be the ringleader of trying to get the fight on, he will stop in his tracks and humble himself, and you'll see his body language go like this. You know, and then they'll
okay,
be like,
but does he stop because his friends say they don't have his back? Is that why he stops? Because his friends don't have his back?
What?
No.
Well, yeah, because what happens is he realized that his survival is in jeopardy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he will not also have sex. His survival is in jeopardy because he can get kicked out of the pride, or the tribe, or whatever, or the pack. He can get kicked out by the females. The females can get together and kick him out, and he won't be able to come back in. Right? So that's one. He has less chance of survival when he doesn't have the crowd. That's that whole fit in mentality. Well, why teens and kids are so important about fitting in. It's not just a teens and kids thing. We do it as adults as well because we are tribal creatures. We're tribal animals. And we have a higher probability of survival when we have more of us together. Right? We're not strong creatures. We're not strong. Everything can eat us in the wild. Everything. From the insects all the way up to the thing. So go ahead.
Go ahead.
All right, I'll finish up the point. Right, so to finish up that side is that the females run that, and then you will see the male, like, because he knows, and once he calms down, around, and they will let him have sex, and it would only like 2-3 seconds. It doesn't matter, and that's the way that they greet each other, and that's the way that they make up with each other. And when that happens, like in their society, they have very, very few deaths. Very few deaths by murder, right? Very few deaths by murder. But the chimpanzees, where the men are running everything, and they run by the strength, but the females and the bonobo chimps, they run by the power of, hey, if you want to have that other side of you work, then which is the sex part, then you need to act right. And it's completely different. The same genus of the species, the same genus, right? But one is matriarchally run, and the other is patriarchally run. All right. And so in those scenarios, but now it doesn't mean that we can't have one or the other. We can have both. Right. Now, of course, yes, the man could be responsible, but we're talking about the intelligent man. We're trying to find a solution for the ignorant people, for the people that are fools and that are easily led. Everybody likes sex. So even a fool would be like, what's going to give me the draws, man? If all of these females going to be like, yeah, you can beat only if you're doing something positive for me. And
right. But that's my problem with your argument, Collins, is that you're saying that only the males have room for ignorance because we have vaginas. We should use our vaginas as the solution. There's no room for ignorant females.
All right.
Like,
no,
that doesn't make sense.
Hold on. Before we get
I'm not saying that.
I don't even know what the music is anymore. I don't even know.
The vagina is the music. Hello.
Well, I'm talking about solutions. I'm talking about solutions around music.
Hold on. So I don't even know what the music is anymore.
Well, I'm saying, how do you stop dumb rappers from being dumb rappers? That's all.
We're gonna go ahead and do this because I already set it up. It's already set up. We're gonna end this. We're gonna wrap this up. And my next one is.
I feel like I've been baited into this.
Yeah. Can women can change the world by not giving up the draws?
Oh no. Yeah. Yeah.
Listen, this is not Listen Strada. This is not the other movie that came out with Nick Cannon.
We're not about to discuss that right now. I'm about to start a new broadcast. I'm about to end this broadcast.
Look at Collins, he's all about it. That's messed up.
It's so
right on this panel. You know it's one of me. I got so much estrogen for the people, okay?
Sophie, all I'm saying is I'm ready now.
Well,
baby, I need some coffee. We about to get it. I need coffee for this.
Jamari, you play too
I need coffee for this one. Because Sophie, what we're about to get into, he's absolutely right. And I'm not going to even touch upon the other stuff that we're going to get into later. But I'm talking about women have the ability, based on their vibration and energy, to change the masculine energy. Because we are responsive to the feminine energy. It is the only energy that can stop a male dead in his tracks. Right?
Yep.
Because another male we're going to be aggressive with. And if you ever study, but this is how we're gonna end this and move to the next one. If you ever study the animal kingdom, everything they do to procreate. It's for the women. If you ever look, if you look at the bird, if you look at the bird family, right? The males are the one who has the prettiest feathers. The woman, the female is ugly for a reason. She's brown. She don't stand out. It's the males that be strutting for the female, and it's the same thing.
Doing everything they could do
goes on in our society. Is males are strutting for the woman, and if the woman stopped listening to or heeding the call of these certain energies given off by males in the form of whatever music they're listening to, whatever career field they're getting into, their mindset, the physicality, like the men wouldn't do it. Women have such an impression on males at a very young age that they give young boys complexes by the time they turn 18, 19, 20. So we're definitely going to get in there. You better, Sophie. You better look at it. She in the hot seat.
All right, so are we starting?
Hot seat by herself. So round it up. Music is very extremely influential in any community, right? And my spill on it, the reason why it's so potent in our community is because we're only exposed to a certain amount of genres, and we're only exposed to a certain amount of sounds, and we're only exposed to a certain amount of actual people. Sophie stated earlier tonight, that she said this is why people that had longevity in the music career can put out an album and sell millions. No. There's only one rapper that's doing it today that's on that level. And that's Jay.
No, there are like maybe 3 or 4 of them.
Who? If Ludacris put out an album today, and I love Ludacris, he put out an album today, it ain't selling. It's just not.
Even 50 Cent. Even 50 Cent.
They're not selling.
He won't be able to.
Not in today's market, because and you hear from musicians all the time. I'm gonna give you a perfect good example. Lupe Fiasco has been around for a very long time. He's probably one of the best hip hop artists I've ever heard in my entire life. Like lyrically, he's phenomenal, right? But he did 5 or 6 world tours, and none of it was in America, right? He was very successful overseas, had very little success in the US because of the appreciation of music in Europe compared to the non-appreciation, or there's another word for that, but appreciation of music here in America, and from our cultural standpoint.
Right.
Because you'll still have orchestras, they'll sell out. Theaters and plays, they'll sell out, but we're not selling them out from our culture, because a large part of our culture is actually, I don't want to say, but it's uncultured.
Woo!
I hit that. Look at that.
Damn, you hit that bit. You hit that. You killed that bit with a kill spot. Dang. Woo. Well, okay. Well, hey, listen. Since we're gonna wrap this one up. Let's do our sign offs. You know what I'm saying? Let's do our sign off. Sophie, tell them goodbye.
Sign it out.
Let them know your final thoughts and all the good stuff.
Okay, my final thoughts are, everything is evolving. And so maybe music today is just a sign that our kids they have less worries than we had. So when people don't have a lot of worries, sometimes they make whack art. That's why a lot of times white people whack. Because their kids grow up and don't really have a soulish upbringing, you know, they don't really have a struggle. So maybe our kids, this is just a sign that they're not a part of a struggle, and maybe it's a good thing, you know. But I mean, I just really think that if you really want to be, if you're really in it for the art, even if you came into it for the money, consider your authenticity. And maybe you don't have the joy that comes with it, but if you started creating art from you, of you, I think that more likely than not, you will develop the joy for the craft. So yeah, you know, that's all I can say about that. And that's it.
Awesome. Well, I'll do my last little final thought. I believe that I'm gonna pick back off of yours because that's actually I didn't even think about it. That's a hell of an awesome perspective. Maybe they just ain't got enough problems, you know. So it's that, but it's just like doing good. We doing all right. We're getting better. You know what I mean? We're getting better because they're not so struggle oriented that
No
you know
passion.
that they have the freedom to have no passion about stuff that they are doing.
Yeah.
You know, they've now our young black men, you know, and Hispanic men from the hood are now starting to have white people problems. You know, and maybe that's a good thing. Maybe you know, maybe things are starting to even out. Maybe it's a sign that things are starting to even out on the socioeconomic scale and the philosophical scale. So, you know, hey,
y'all saying some stuff right now.
like that might be a fantastic perspective. You know, yeah, because you know that's one of the you hit it right on the point. That's exactly one of the things that makes a lot of art forms, you know, not great. I think one of my favorite movies was Five Heartbeats, and they told the brother, "You will not be great until you finally get your. You will not be a great writer until you get your heart broken."
Yeah, duh.
That's when you're gonna become a great writer. And I was like, "Damn, you know, for real." But you know, think about it. You know, that for a lot of us, that's the only reason why I started even writing. I had my heart broken. Mm-hmm. And I did not know how to deal with it. So I had to write a song to get those words out because I couldn't say them. Cooking Master 22. That song was 12 minutes long. I had so much. It was. That was a 12. I mean, all of the stuff that I had bottled up inside, all the pain and the torment and the love and all of that stuff took 12 minutes to get out. That song had about 7 verses. 7 verses.
Yeah, it was. It was crazy.
Yeah, and Cooking Master 22 was the email of the girl that I was in love with, and that's how we stayed in contact. It was like the first time emails were being used as a form of communication, you know. So that's how we stayed in contact. So that's how I related to her as Cooking Master 22. We went to high school together, but she was gone. So that's, you know, that's that little story. But it was that pain that had me make that song, you know, and sparked the need to actually put words in, because I just used to do it all musically, you know. So yeah, maybe we're doing all right. You know, we got some indigo children coming up doing amazing things. You know, so schools that can just, it's okay. It's okay, because who's going to choose, you know, who's going to choose the clean water? We got some options for clean water now, at least, you know, and then who's going to choose the raggedy water, the dirty water? They was going to choose it anyway. So, yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for that perspective, Sophie. Oh yeah, and anyways, for everybody, we got to do our plugs. This is business, man. This is business. If anyone out there wants to delve into their life and you know what I'm saying? If you want to get your purpose, if you're a musician or a singer or a writer and you want to follow your purpose, one of the first programs I created was the Jack Trades Edutainment Foundation that taught people how to balance that art form and also be able to cater to that business. All right, so that you will be able to sell, but you'll also be selling something good. All right, so you know, I'm actually, because of that, I'm going to open up that program again to anybody who really wants to learn how to follow their dreams and get their passion, but also wants to be able to sell them and make a living off of it and not just be, you know, selling out tours in Japan and not at home. So myrelationshipworks@gmail.com. We will talk about your relationship to your career and your music, you know, and your art form or your dance, or whatever it is that you're doing.
Thanks, long-winded master.
Right. No, I'm saying.
Gotta
All right,
get
go
the
ahead.
plugs in.
Y'all
I'm gonna have my plugs ready next recording.
Yeah, y'all said some stuff that was kind of crazy at the end. Like, but I'm gonna leave it alone right now. We'll get that to that later. So I'm gonna. Y'all just saying some stuff, man. Oh man, kids ain't got no struggle these days. Oh, they struggling. They just disillusioned. That's what's wrong with it. They're disillusioned. All right, freaking disillusioned. All right, so shoot, they probably don't even. I ain't even go there. I'm gonna go ahead and start this. Yeah, I'm not. I'm gonna stop this, and because Sophie's about to be on a hot seat, and I wish she had somebody that can help her, because I'm really about to go in. I'm about to give Sophie a history lesson. Oh man!
Oh,
you're gonna give me a history lesson? I don't know. I don't even know if that's possible.
Sometimes the teacher gotta become a student again. All right, so make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, Online Cookout. I am Jay Clarington, and we're out of here.
Goodbye.